Hi everybody, this is Priscilla with the Osho tarot reading for the full moon in Capricorn that was actually on Thursday at 12:20 p.m, 2nd of July in Australia. Apologies for the delay in getting this out to everybody a couple of days late. We seem to be a bit knocked around by some of these energies, and it just doesn't seem to want to happen until it's ready to drop in, so I have to really go with that. So I'm trusting that this is the reason for it. So yeah, for everybody who is a bit new to full moons and Capricorn and astrology and the power of this time, it's full moons are a great time for ending things, to being really clear on closure, but also it is actually not a bad thing to set new intentions as well. It's often a good time to start to understand what it is that you could start to create too, and when you clear out the old stuff, you're creating space for the new. So if you say that you want to start something new, it's kind of good to actually say, well, what doesn't need to be here anymore, so that you've actually got space to bring in the new stuff as well. So it's all good in that context. And with Capricorn, the energy of Capricorn is essentially Saturnian energy, very staunch, solid, structured. And you know, so it's been a very powerful, intense time for people who have planets in Capricorn. And I know for myself, I've got my moon in Capricorn, and funnily enough, it was a full moon in Capricorn this time, so I'm sort of feeling very much that structure and control and what's not serving me, and looking to understand where my finances are, is all very important for me at the moment, because it's around how I create future and my future, and what I'd like to create for a solid income for myself. And Capricorn's about slowly but surely creating something that is solid, and it's not going to fall over. It's not a house of cards. It's not something that's been you know, like, it's not a solid, it's a solid structure that's not built on a foundation of sand. It's actually quite yeah, it's solid. It's on rock. You know, think of the goats that climb mountains. You know, they just crawl up the weirdest angles, but they get there, and they're very, very sure-footed, and it's a great thing to make the most of this energy. So I've still got a couple of weeks left to clear out things that don't serve, and we still have time to actually tune into and go, well, okay, if this doesn't serve me, what would I like to have in its place once this goes? And give yourself time to tune into that. And so the next new moon will actually be in Cancer on the 16th of July in Australia. So I don't know the exact time. I think it's sometime mid-morning or late morning, about 11:30 or something in the morning. So, and Cancer, of course, is about nurturing the self, nurturing the family. The energy around Cancer is that it's got a tough outer shell, but the reality is that means that tough outer shell actually covers up the tenderness on the inside. And this is about creating new things around where we want to nurture that part of ourselves, that we know that if we can have a tough exterior all this time, which is all brilliant, but hello, if this inner, softer, gentler part of ourselves isn't nurtured, then what's the point, really? So I'm going to draw a card, an Osho card, for the full moon in particular around Capricorn, and the energies that will be prevailing for the next couple of weeks, and which actually really did probably peak on Thursday our time, Wednesday for the US, and sort of midnight-ish in between for Europe. So card for the full moon in Capricorn. Okay, this is beautiful. So this card here is known as friendliness, and it's about recognizing where in your world you have connections with people that are allowing you to be truly who you are. As you can see here, the two trees don't actually intertwine each other. They stand separately, but they do actually merge on certain points with the leaves, and obviously with the two trees so close to each other, their roots will actually merge under the ground as well. But what it does is also creates a third colour. You've got the bright yellow on one side and the beautiful red on the other. And then in between you have this gorgeous golden orangey colour, and it's quite stunning. And what it means is essentially that, you know, where there are relationships in your world, they're not so much about relationships, they're about relating and friendliness, and how you are allowed to be fully who you are. I'll just bring the card up a little bit closer for you so you can see it. It's really beautiful, and really this is probably a time of those relationships are being highlighted now. And it's not to say that there's relationships that are ending, but maybe there are. Maybe they don't serve you anymore. Maybe they aren't nurturing you in the way that you once believed that they could, or they used to, but they just don't anymore, because the pair of you are moving in two very different directions. And recognizing that these relationships, or this particular relationship, more than one, who knows, it's just time. It's time to say goodbye. It's time to say thank you. It's time to say, I really appreciate and honour the role that you've played in my life, but now it's time to move off and do other things so that each of you can be truly who you're meant to be. Sometimes when we enter relationships or marriages or contracts with other people, business partnerships, this could be, around any partnership really. It's not just specifically friends or lovers. It's about really recognising that sometimes once it's run its course, there is no more. You can't maintain or sustain something because of the way it's been. And it could also be that there's a new relationship or friendships coming into your life that are truly allowing you to be who you are and aren't meant to be ended, but essentially to recognise that you can't take a stranglehold on this other person or this other business partner or whatever, and try and control everything. It's actually about really being allowed to stand in your own light and in your own truth, and let that person be fully and truly who they're meant to be too. This is really, really important. We're coming into a time where once upon a time autonomy was relevant. People go, oh, this is all about me and I need to fix me and all the rest of it, which is wonderful. And then there's this desire to connect with others. But as a result of that, sometimes because we've been on our own for so long, when we do connect with others, we go in so deeply that there's no room left, there's no breathing space left for each of you to be truly who you're meant to be. And then it's such a strong stranglehold that it actually smothers and kills the relationship, because there's no room to grow, to allow each person to be truly who they're meant to be. I remember reading a post on Facebook the other day about, as you get to know someone and you get to know them incredibly well, then you'll start to see them flaws and all. And obviously the meme was bigger than that, of course, but that was the essence of it. And it's very true. Once we get to know someone on that other level, we need to accept them completely and wholly for who they are. And, otherwise there is no friendship. Then it's conditional, and then it's about control and having people fit into your world just because they fit into XY box or whatever, or some kind of category. And it just doesn't work like that anymore. People just aren't functioning from those places. So when we allow each other to be wholly who they're meant to be, and we trust that we're on our own path and we are who we're meant to be, the relationships that we develop can actually be more powerful and more sustaining because they nurture each other naturally. There's no forcing, there's no creating. It just happens so beautifully. But if you find there's a stranglehold, take a massive step back, give some breathing space, allow that person to be who they are. Own your own behaviour, especially if you're the one who was going in too deep too fast. And just trust that when you give that space, this other person might decide it's not going to work for them and they'll walk away. But if you do give them space, then they'll probably take a huge deep breath of relief, saying thank you, because now I'm allowed to be me, and now I really want to be more connected to you too, which is the beauty of it all. But we need to create the space, and we need to allow each person to be who they're meant to be. So next reading will be for the new moon in Cancer on the 16th of July. Just reading some notes there because I've got a shocking memory with some of this stuff. And we'll do another reading then. So I look forward to sharing with you then. Thank you, and much love to everybody.